All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful way of thinking, especially for anyone in the helping professions. It's called the ecological lens. And really, it's all about learning to see the entire world a person lives in, not just the single problem in front of you. Let's get into it. So, let's just start with the big question, right? Why is helping people so darn complicated? I mean, whether you're working in a church, a nonprofit, whatever, you know it's never simple. A person's struggles are always tangled up with their family, their job, their community. So where do you even begin to unravel all of that?
And look, this isn't just a feeling we have. It's the reality of the work. David Ho absolutely nails it here. He says social workers are practicing in a world full of stress, inequality, and injustice. You're meeting people right at this messy intersection, where their personal life crashes into all these bigger forces.
Okay, so first up, let's just sit with that idea for a second. We're calling this section a world of complexity. Because before we can find any answers, we have to really get our heads around just how complex things are and why the simple, easy fixes, well, why they usually don't work. You know, when you're faced with someone who's really struggling, it's so tempting to just zero in on one little piece of the puzzle. But to actually truly help, you need a way to see the whole board. You need to understand how all the pieces connect and move together.
And that's what this is all about. We're not talking about some dusty, abstract theory. We're talking about a practical tool, a new lens that you can look through to bring some real clarity to all that chaos.
And here it is. This new way of seeing is the ecological lens. And honestly, it's a game changer. It totally shifts our focus from just looking at an isolated person to seeing a person who is constantly interacting with, well, with everything around them. And this image right here, this is the whole concept in one picture. It's Yuri Bronfenbrenner's bioecological model. Now, I know it looks a little intimidating with all the circles, but just think of it like ripples in a pond. Right in the center, that's the individual. And each ring moving outwards is another layer of their world. And this is what's so important to get. This is not just a theory for a textbook. It's a map. It's a practical guide that helps us trace all the connections and influences, the obvious ones and the hidden ones, that are shaping a person's life. So let's actually break this map down piece by piece. In this next section, Mapping Our Nested Worlds, we're going to walk through each one of those layers, starting from the very center and working our way out. First up is the microsystem. This is the immediate, day-to-day world of the person. It's the people and places they see and talk to all the time. So we're talking about family, close friends, teachers at school, maybe their small group at church. This is their ground zero. Okay, the next ring out is the exosystem. Now, this one's fascinating because it includes things that affect the person, even though they're not directly a part of it. The classic example is a parent's workplace. A child never goes to that office, right? But if their parent gets a promotion or gets laid off, you better believe that has a massive direct impact on the child's life at home. And then, the biggest outermost layer, that's the macro system. This is the big, big picture. It's the culture they live in. Think about the country's laws, the economic situation, the social values, all the unspoken rules that shape everything happening in those inner circles. And finally, there's one more piece that isn't really a circle at all. Bronfenbrenner called it the chronosystem, and it's basically the dimension of time. This accounts for huge life transitions, like a divorce or moving to a new city, and even major historical events, like, say, a global pandemic. These events create waves that change everything across a person's life. So we've got the layers, we've got the circles, but the real magic of this model, the part that truly unlocks its power, it's not in the circles themselves, it's in the spaces between. It's all about how those different parts of a person's world connect to each other. Seriously, this is the secret sauce. How do the different parts of someone's world talk to each other? A person's life isn't just a bunch of separate boxes. It's a web. And the strength of that web, the support it offers, is all about the quality of those connections. And that web of connections has a name. It's the mesosystem. It's all about how the different pieces of the microsystem, that inner circle, relate to each other. For example, do a kid's parents have a good, supportive relationship with their teachers? Or do they fight all the time? Is there a strong link between someone's home life and their church community? When those connections are strong, you have a real safety net. But when they're broken or fighting each other, well, that creates a huge amount of stress for the person stuck in the middle. And when you start to see all this, it leads to this huge shift in thinking. We can finally move past that old, tired nature versus nurture debate. It was never one or the other.
The real question is, how is the environment, all those systems we just talked about, nurturing a person's nature? Is it helping them grow, or is it getting in their way?
Now, for those of you who are coming at this from a faith perspective, this is where the model just lights up. We're not just borrowing some clever tool from social science. We're about to see how it clicks perfectly into place with a really deep biblical truth about who we are as people. As it says right here in your course material, the whole foundation of Christian care is built on this idea that we aren't isolated individuals. We are created to be persons in relationship. We are hardwired for connection. And that's where we find both our greatest joy and, honestly, our deepest pain. And this isn't some new idea, right? Scripture is full of this kind of ecological thinking. I mean, think about Paul's image of the church as one body with many different parts. That's a perfect picture of a system where every single part affects the whole. He says if one part suffers, every part suffers with it. We belong to each other. We are deeply, fundamentally interconnected. So, here it is. Here's the big takeaway for all your future work. Before you try to fix anything, before you offer a solution, your very first, most important job is just to see, to use this ecological lens to truly understand the person in front of you, not as a case number, but as a whole person living in their whole, complicated, beautiful world. And the best part is, you get to put this into practice immediately. Your first applied exercise is to actually build one of these maps. This is where the theory stops being just an idea and becomes a real, hands-on tool that you can use to see all those hidden connections for yourself. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to carry forward. Because this lens, this way of seeing, it's not just for an assignment. It's a skill for a lifetime of doing this work well. So looking ahead, whose world will you choose to truly understand?